I've got here a glass of water and salt. This glass represents you. The water are your thoughts, your mind, while the salt are things in the environment, limitations, the health issue, finances, everything that could actually affect you. If I take this salt and pour it in the water, right, and then I get a spoon and stir until it dissolves completely, it becomes a true solution according to physics. It becomes a true solution. So this is it. Taking a cue from physics, if I pass a beam of light through this glass, through this water, the path of that light will not be made visible, which they call the Tyndall effect, right? It will not be made visible because this is a true solution, and the solutes, which is the salt, representing the externalities like the limitations, the health issue, whatever it may be, is so integrated and dissolved, so part of the mind and the thoughts that you have that it will be really hard to actually pass the light. Like the light will not be made visible through this solution. In the same light, if I try to separate the solution, a simple method like filtration in physics will not get this thing separated. Just the same way if I tried affirmations, there's sometimes where things just feel so heavy, feel so real that affirmations wouldn't even work. They wouldn't suffice per se. And if I have to separate this solution as we see it, if I have to separate this solution, I'll need to apply some heat. And according to physics, that would be either evaporation or crystallization and not just filtration. So just in that same light, there are some times that some things actually feel so weighty and heavy and more real than the words that we speak, that mere affirmations wouldn't suffice. And in those times when you say the words, they feel empty. It feels as if they don't carry any weight more than the reality, the fact of the reality of the situation. And in this time, affirmation wouldn't actually suffice. In this video, I'm going to share how and the things that you can do when affirmations don't seem to be enough, because I've been there. I was recently there just the past few days. I was actually there and I found myself on this particular day feeling so overwhelmed by a particular thing that I had to do, and it wasn't panning out as it should, and I almost felt handicapped. But I'm gonna let this video show you. Okay, so I have the cigarette here. I'm just going to take him now, and I connected this mic, and the reason why I connected this mic is because I decided to have just a little bit of chat to just carry you guys along, and just a moment of honesty. It wasn't like this yesterday. Yesterday I was in my head, I was in my feelings. I literally cried all through, did nothing, was not productive. And the reason was because I was expecting something, I wasn't getting the support that I thought that I needed, and I have all of these expectations in my head. Obviously, I'm not going to the camera to cry. I mean, that was yesterday, and this is a fresh new day. I didn't necessarily wait until this new day before I started doing what I wanted to do, but this is a fresh new day, so you probably see me heading out of this house because I need to stay away from this house and just get things done. Let's head on out, okay? So from this video, this was about the next day and I was already getting out of it. I was already starting to make a move, but the previous day I didn't get anything done. I couldn't get anything done because the reality of what I had to deal with felt so overwhelming that it's, the words were not sufficing. I was trying to say the words, but it wasn't working until I realized that in this time, what I actually needed were these things that I'm going to share in this video. These were the steps that I needed to do. I had done some things, but it wasn't panning out as it should. So I realized that it was more than this. I needed to do some things more than just affirming myself and saying, oh, I am capable, or I can do it, or whatever I have in my journal that I'd written to actually reaffirm myself and buttress who I was. So the first thing that we should know when we feel this particular way, when we feel too heavy and things feel so overwhelming that we can't seem to move past it, we can't seem to get out, and it feels like the weight of it feels too much on our shoulders and in our minds, like the fact, I use fact and not truth, the fact of the reality feels so real compared to the words that we speak that feel empty. The truth is, when we're in this space, the major thing that we have to do in this time is be ourselves. Don't come for me. The reason why I say be ourselves is because in this time there's a tendency to want to be in that space where you feel like, well, I've been going fine, I've been affirming myself, I've been doing this, I've been manifesting this, I've been, going at it. And so why am I in this space? I should be able to see these things. Or sometimes just trying to mask it up with this can do spirit, and it's actually forced. It's coming from a place of striving. It's not coming naturally. We can tell that we are actually masking the feelings. We aren't being real with ourselves in that time. We're feeling like we can't do this thing. We're feeling like we shouldn't be in this place. Or if I just said this thing, if I just said this words, I'll be all right. But the truth is, in this time we have to acknowledge and be ourselves and know that in this time you really do feel overwhelmed. The words, you don't actually believe the words that you're speaking. The words feel empty to you right now, and you need more. You need help. So in this time we have to be ourselves and acknowledge that it actually feels heavy and we are overwhelmed by it. It's okay to actually acknowledge and just feel like these words feel empty to me right now, even though yes, I've done it in the past. Just like this experiment that we did, this is a true solution. Can you see? We can't even find the salt anywhere because it feels part of us. It almost feels like our identity, but it's not. The salt is there, the water is there, but you can't differentiate it. If I pass it through light, it still wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't make the path of light visible, like the Tyndall effect. The light, which represents the words that we speak, the words of affirmation, would not, there'll be no visibility to the light, meaning little or no effect to the words that we speak, because our minds are already integrated with these externalities to the point where they feel like our identity. The words don't even mean anything. What we have to do is separate the solution, separate the solid from the solvent. In this case, the salt is the solute and the solvent is the water. And filtration, which is a simple method of just affirming or whatever we've been taught to do, would not suffice in this case. We need to apply heat. We need to apply heat in the form of evaporation, separating the two so that we can get that which is our thoughts, right, which is the truth of who we are, and we get that which is the externality and the limitations in the environment that actually tell us things. So that is what we should know here. So being ourselves is acknowledging that you are overwhelmed. These words do not feel like affirmations, they feel empty, and realizing that you actually need help. The second thing that you should do is actually cry out for help. So for me, when I felt that way, I acknowledged that I was overwhelmed, and then I went on to cry out for help. And that's just me putting it out there. Like I said, as a believer and my faith, which means a lot to me, I actually, just cried, Lord, I need help. I need help right now. And this is me talking as someone who coaches people on how to get through and empowerment for the mind re-engineering, purpose awakening, building resilience. I knew that I needed help, so I cried out, Lord, I need help. So putting it out there, I need help. I realize that I do need help in this time. These things would not suffice. I don't believe these words that I'm speaking, so I need help. So putting it out there is the second thing that you need to do. The third thing is actually asking for light, enlightening your mind, And I'm sure you're wondering, who am I asking? How to ask for light? As these are words that actually acknowledge that you need help. The affirming the words of affirmation are directed to building you up and just helping you through and all of that. That would be a different in a different kind of solution. That would be when it's mixed with bigger particles than the salt. Not to get you confused, I'm linking it to physics the experiment of a solution, either a true solution such as this, or say a colloid or a suspension, something bigger than the salt particles, right? So that's that, so we don't get confused. But then acknowledging that you need help, acknowledging that you need help and asking for light. You just want to put it out there that I need light. I need my mind to be so illuminated against this dark, heavy place that I feel, against the sports that I do not necessarily align with. It's kind of hard for me to differentiate between what is real and what is not. I realize that this is the fact of the situation, but I also know that there's a truth to my identity. Right now, I don't feel it because the fact and the truth kind of look the same, but I need help. It could be in your mind, you could mutter it out, because trust me, in this time, you feel drained. You feel drained and exhausted, and it's almost like you don't have strength in you. So that's the next thing that you should do. When you've done this, a very crucial part is taking the thoughts captive. A lot of times we say the affirmations, we say all these things, and we try to get, try to do things. But the truth is, there is still a fortress in your mind. Remember, these are facts, limitations. These are things that are facts of your reality. They are not the truth, but they are facts. So they feel so real and heavy. And because they feel so real and heavy, your mind actually makes it bigger, magnifies them. It magnifies them so much in your mind. They carry so much energy that in your mind they are magnified to the point where they look actually bigger than they are, and it feels like the end of the road to you. And that's the reason why you feel helpless and hopeless, and you just can't seem to get your strength up. So what you want to do is take the thoughts captive. The thoughts are the vehicles, the thoughts are the sources of energy that would either lead you and push you forward or keep you stuck in a place. So you want to take the thoughts captive. Taking the thoughts captive and realizing that this thought, I actually take you captive right now. I catch you. You are not the truth of who I am. You are not the truth of where I am or where I'm meant to be. You are just a fact, and the fact does not make up the truth. So I take you captive. I took it captive and brought it under subjection to Jesus, my faith. I took it captive and brought it under subjection to Jesus. This is why I bring in spirituality with self-development and all of that. You have to take it captive. You have to take it captive and bring it under subjection to the truth of your identity, to the truth of the divine power. You have to bring it captive to that. And when you do that, if you have your gratitude journal already written out, or you have a song of gratitude, then you can let it play, because again, you are trying to build up strength. These things come as thoughts that actually drain you, and the reason why they feel so heavy is because you can actually see the fact of them in your reality, in your environment. So it's kind of hard to pretend that these things are not there, and that's why your affirmations may feel quite empty. So you want to put out the song of gratitude, and these are things that will uplift you. The truth is, even by this time, you started gaining some strength, because there is no way that you would do this as I am telling you to, and you wouldn't have started to gain some momentum and strength even in your being, in your bones, in your mind. At this time, you started gaining some strength. So you put the song of gratitude, or if you have your gratitude journal, you open it. Even if you can't start to say the words, you just want to stare at them repeatedly for a prolonged period of time until it starts to sink. And the more you stare at them, the sooner you start to speak them, and the sooner you get up with the strength that you require. So at this time, affirmations would work. So now you start to speak out the words of truth that you would typically speak, affirming yourself. At this time, you've gained so much strength, because again, your mind controls a lot of things. There's this popular saying, mind over matter. Right. Your mind would control a lot of things. Not would, it actually controls a lot of things. And the things that you see in your life and even in your body, is quite directly proportional to how your mind functions. So the sooner that you prop up your mind to be stronger than it actually than the things around you would actually try, because the truth is these things would always be there. So this is not a move to change the things around you. This is a move to strengthen your mind, because growth and productivity would only come in when your mind is at its utmost best, when your mind is functioning in the best way possible, when you feel so strengthened within. So nothing, remember the thing that I said once, I don't know if I said it here or in my blog, Live with Mavis, when you clean a wound, you clean it from inside outwards, so it would heal. When you clean it the other way around, that is from outwards inwards, what you've done is basically introduce a lot of impurities, microorganisms, infections could come into play, and the wound will not be healed. So if you want to change the outcome of anything, you have to clean the wound from inwards, outwards, and that's when healing happens. That's when change comes. That's when transformation happens, and that's when growth also happens. So your mind, your innermost being, is what is tantamount to seeing any actual growth and productivity in your life. If that part within you is dead, is dark, is heavy, you will not find the strength to actually get things done. You would not get things done. You won't get things done. So you have to actually, at this point, realize that it's more than just the things on the outside. The things on the outside would be there. But the truth is that the law of gravity is present, has always been present, yet we learned how to fly. So you have to really incorporate this as part of your routine, just to really build your mind and build your resilience and build every single thing about you. So at this point, you start to speak the words of affirmation. When the fact of your reality comes into play, you do it again, taking the thoughts captive. You speak the words of affirmation, you engage gratitude, because what gratitude does is that it's a shifter. It actually shifts things. So when you start to engage the law of gratitude, not only does it improve your mood, but it changes the dynamics of the things around you. You might not see it yet on the outside, but it is actually working. When you start to show gratitude for the things that you have, because in this time you're not seeing the things that you actually have, and before you wonder, well, what do I have? Well, I have this, I have bills to pay, I have, this, if I don't pay my rent, I may be kicked out soon, or whatever case it may be. There is always something that you have. I mean, you're alive, right? You can eat, you can talk, you can see. There is always something that you can show gratitude for. You can see the ants crawling on the wall. You can hear. There are different things that you can actually show gratitude for, regardless of the situation. If you're dealing with a health issue in one part of your body, you can show gratitude for the other part of your body that works. So that is how gratitude works. And gratitude is such a shifter of things, that not only does it shift things, but it magnifies things. When you show gratitude, it shifts the dynamics of things, where that thing that you thought was small, that you couldn't necessarily show gratitude for, when you turn it around and start to show gratitude for it, it enlarges. It enlarges. That's just the way gratitude works. So it becomes way bigger. You magnify the good that you have over what you don't have, to the point where that good looks bigger than the thing that was initially magnified in your mind. When a negative thought comes into your mind, you catch the thoughts. Remember, this is like a cycle. You keep doing it. You catch the thoughts and actually see that I realize that this is a fact, but it is not the truth. There's a difference between the fact and the truth. A fact may actually be visible, but the truth may not necessarily be visible, but it is there. It is there. What you just need to do is reaffirm the truth so much that it takes space and takes room, to the point where the fact dissipates. So when the sun goes down at night, right? When the sun goes down at night and the moon comes into play and everywhere seems dark, does that mean that the sun isn't present? No. It just means that while it's night and there's darkness everywhere, the sun is actually present, but maybe facing another direction. The reason why you know and why there's a proof of the sun is because it shines through and it also gives light, right? So the sun at night is proof that the truth is present, but you probably are not seeing it at that time because it's dark. But the more that you actually acknowledge that the truth is present over the fact of the darkness around you, before long, the sun shines. So that is how it works. Once you've gotten this done, and this is not just you get it done and you sweep it under the rug and that's it. I've done that. No, it's a continual thing. So once you've started to do this and the energy is coming back, you're gaining momentum and all of that, get up and stay active. Don't stay in that space. You'd probably need to leave the four walls of your room, clean up, declutter if you have to do that. Get up and stay active. If you have work to do, if you have something to do, if you have a move to make, do that. I found myself also doing that just the following day when I had engaged all of these things. And again, for me, it took 24 hours, right? 24 hours of me dealing and bringing all of these things captive and just going through the motion and the process of re-emphasizing my truth. So by this time, I had you know gotten some strength, gotten the energy and all of that. Also in that time of there was also a bit of meditation again on these words, and it actually brought in more light, because the truth is an increment. The truth is, when light increases in your mind, it actually shifts the darkness. So like an earlier video that I made where I pointed out the difference between a candlelight, a lamp, and a full-on bulb is in the intensity of lights that they give a room. So if I turn on a candle light in a dark room, it lightens the room, but not the entirety of the room. Just has, a small halo. Everywhere still feels dim, still looks dim. If I turn on a lamp, it does lighten the room more than the candle light, but not a bulb. Not I really don't know the name of bulbs, but not a really high voltage bulb, right? If I turn on a bulb, it lightens the whole room because it has that intensity of light. So you want to increase the light so much so that the darkness disappears, so that the part just so you're not spooked up by everything. The darkness represents the inability to see, the hopelessness, the helplessness, the feeling stuck, the acknowledgement of every form of limitation, the sadness, everything that does not represent growth. Growth will only happen when there is light. Just the same way the sun comes out, it gives light, it gives the source of life to plants and even we humans. So also light only gives light, illumination for your path and also life. So that is actually what you want to do. To reiterate, as you do this, you meditate on the words of power and light that I stated in the previous video. Please check it out. Meditate on the words of power and light that you've written out, that you have close to you. If you have your Bible, perfect. You meditate on the word of God and let that sit deeply within you, right? Let that sit deeply within you. Let it form pictures in your mind and give you the strength that you need to go again. As you do that, you energize yourself and start to gain momentum. It leads you to new pathways, or just you're able to see. You are able to see, and that's why I've used things that we have around us to actually paint the picture that this thing is similar to what happens within us. When it is dark, you can't see anything. It requires light. So when you get this and you start to go and you meditate, you paint pictures on the with the words of power and light, it actually starts to cause the darkness to dissipate and fade away to the point that you start to see. So what felt heavy and what felt like the end, what felt like there was no way out, suddenly starts to look like a way. It starts to look like a way is being carved out for you. So that is what you should do even in that time. So the goal is not to find an immediate solution to everything, because if it's a health issue, you may not necessarily get a resolution to that in the immediate, but the goal is to shift the trajectory of things, even from your mind to your outward situation and reality, to the point that it starts to affect things. This depression has actually been linked to a lot of things. It's been linked to a lot of chronic conditions, and it's been linked to increased stress levels, boosting cortisol, the stress hormone in the body, and then inflammation. And inflammation is more often than not at the bedrock of every chronic condition. So you want to actually reduce any form of inflammation going on in your body. You want to prevent it as much as you can, because the truth is, dark, heavy places do not cause growth. If anything, it fosters the lack of it. So you actually want to do things, you actually want to engage these practices when you feel heavy and affirmations just feel empty. You want to get these things done. You want to do these things. You want to do it repeatedly, because the truth is, before you're done, you will find the momentum. This is me just coming back, because every single thing that I share here are things that I do. There are things that I still do. There are things that I practice. I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm not speaking from a theoretical point of view. These are practical things that I engage, and I'm sharing with you as one who engages them. I use them. I still use them, and they work for me. So that is it. I really hope that this helps you. I pray that it energizes you. Anyone watching this and feeling overwhelmed by the situation that you find yourself in, I really hope that this helps you, and pray that these things actually stir the right energy even as you engage them, as I've listed here, that it helps you and guides you through on the path that you should take, and you actually feel the life flowing through your body, feel the life flowing through your circumstances, whatever it may be. And you're able to tap into that divine creative power to change things around you and change your life for the better. So that will be all for now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.